All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, there's an old saying that if it does not come out in the wash, it'll come out in the rinse. Meaning what? Eventually, however things actually are and whoever people actually are will show in the end. If it does not show in the beginning, or at least if it's not apparent to you in the beginning, it will be apparent to you in the end. And I believe that we're going to learn a lot about Mr. LeBron James over the course of these next 3 or 4 years in LA. Because he's not going to have the option but to reveal who he really is, because there's going to be far less of a framework and far less talent around him to hide who he actually is as a person and what he's truly about, that being himself. And when you see how so many of his younger teammates respond to him now, or don't respond to him, once again, all it does is verify what I always tell you, brothers, which is to not be a fan. Because when you're a fanboy, not only are you doing an injustice to yourself, but you're doing an injustice to the person that you claim to be a fan of. Because as a so-called fan, you've created a false image of that person that you idolize in your mind that they can never live up to. LeBron James is a real flesh and blood person. He's not just a superhero that you see on television who you believe does no wrong or thinks no wrong or is always out for others and not out for himself. Many of these people, they put more pressure on him to be the superlative individual when all he is a basketball player. And that's why they've been let down. When you look at his track record has always shown that when things don't go his way, he will try to liquefy the entire environment around him. He will try to totally destroy it and rebuild it in his image. So now, one of his top fanboys in the media, Mr. Max Kellerman, is finally willing to confess and acknowledge that LeBron James is a quote-unquote coach killer. So they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
All right, Stephen A., I want to get to a point that you made earlier about potential changes. We know one of those would be Luke Walton, likely done at the end of the season. That, according to Mark Stein of the New York Times. Max, I don't know how else to ask this. Is LeBron a coach killer?
Yes. Absolutely he is. Of course he's a coach killer. When you look over the course of LeBron James's career, and interestingly enough, is when he's had his most success, is when he was given the least amount of power over the coach, that being in Miami. That showed you that LeBron James is not making the correct decisions and that he's been given too much power over the course of his career and has probably held him back when it comes to winning.
Yes, obviously. And the fact that he's so sensitive, clearly, and his people are very sensitive about that reputation for whatever reason, I don't understand that. LeBron is a coach killer, and usually it's a good idea because LeBron has to be comfortable with the coach. Magic Johnson was a coach killer.
No, not quite. Magic was not really a coach killer. He removed one coach because that one coach was not optimizing what Magic Johnson did best. Pat Riley came on and he understood how to utilize Magic Johnson, and they were able to have a very fruitful partnership for about 7 or 8 years. LeBron James just seems to be unhappy with everybody because he truly wants to be the coach, but he needs an actual coach there to be a figurehead and to take all the blame whenever the team does poorly. Because remember, LeBron can call all the plays on the sideline, but he needs an actual coach there to point the finger at if the plays that he wants to have ran don't run properly or are not successful. So LeBron's never going to want to be the quote-unquote player coach like a Bill Russell because he can't deal with all that pressure.
Got a championship coach. Can't, right? And what happened? Were the Lakers better off or worse off? Lakers were better off. So
Fortunately for them, yes, they were.
Magic Johnson was a coach killer. It worked. LeBron James, throughout his career, the one time he wasn't a coach killer was when Pat Riley's running the show. I'm sure early on LeBron had some issues with Spoelstra, right?
Absolutely he did. But Max Kellerman, hello, sir. For someone who claims to be intelligent, you don't understand that you're refuting your own point. At the one stop or the one station where LeBron James was prohibited from utilizing his normal machinations, that is where he had his most success. They went to 4 finals and should have won 3 had it not been for his shortcomings against the Dallas Mavericks.
Right? Like, I don't know if this is the guy, but Pat Riley's like, this is the guy. Okay, under those circumstances, it worked out, right? And they won 2 championships. But normally he's a coach killer, and let me tell you why it doesn't matter. None of this stuff that we're talking.
He damn near killed Tyronn Lue, literally. All the stress that dude was going through trying to coach LeBron James, the man almost passed away.
Talking about matters. Here's the thing. 4-year deal with the Lakers. Chip up. You got to win one. You got not get to the finals. You don't have to go back to back, but you must win a championship in the.
I agree with that, but good luck with that, Max Kellerman. Right now, the West is as strong as it's ever been. It really is, from top to bottom. I just don't see the Lakers being able to transcend that, but we'll see.
In the 4 years with the Lakers, if you do, all is forgiven and forgotten. If you don't, it's a problem. Period.
Go ahead, Jalen.
So a couple of things. LeBron James is an all-time great player, but this won't necessarily fall on him to me when Luke Walton isn't the coach after this year.
It probably will. I understand why you're saying that, but it will probably fall on LeBron James because no one was expecting the Lakers to not make the playoffs with LeBron James, no matter who's the coach.
Because he wasn't a Magic Johnson hire. He was already the coach before Magic got there. He was already the coach before LeBron got there.
Let me interrupt you before you finish this point, because I've been wanting to ask Max and Stephen A. this. Was this already the plan, regardless of what Luke Walton did this season? Was he already going to be out, foregone conclusion?
Correct.
Well, it depends on how well he did. If the Lakers would have went on a magic carpet ride and got to the NBA Finals, of course, they're not going to fire Luke Walton. And then on top of that, it's very clear that he has a very close bond with the owner, the quote-unquote owner of the LA Lakers, Jeannie Buss. So I don't think that he was going to be out regardless. I always thought that he was going to be fired before the All-Star break because LeBron James was going to be so unhappy that he was going to force him out. But I do think that Luke Walton's fate on the squad was going to be directly associated with either their quote-unquote success or lack thereof on the basketball court.
Right. No. I always felt, Stephen A., that this, I said it on this program all season. I always felt this would be the only year that Luke coached LeBron because he was there before Magic, he was there before LeBron, and both of those guys are going to want to make sure that they have their person in tow as the team moves forward.
I'm going to throw it to you real quick.
I just believe that before the All-Star break, the Lakers were going to be so bad that Luke Walton was going to be forced out. I didn't think that whether or not he would be allowed to remain the coach was already going to be predetermined. I just believe that LeBron James brings such a noxious and toxic atmosphere that it's just a part of the process that he has to have whatever coach is already there removed so that he can feel like he's placing his stamp on his team and on his organization.
Quick, let me just say quickly, Molly, my position on that always was, for Luke Walton to keep his job, he had to be a great coach. Being a good coach who doesn't win right away more than expected, not good enough. Then he'd be gone for the reasons Jalen outlined.
Partially agree, yes.
But if he were like an exceptionally great coach who could win regardless, then he would have saved his job.
Magic's position was, it wasn't my guy, it wasn't my choice, but I'm going to give him a chance.
Magic's position was, he's not my guy, he's not my choice, but I have to keep him because Jeannie Buss likes him.
I'm going to keep him an open mind. I'm going to keep an open mind. And I believe that, Jalen. And the reason why I believe that is because obviously, Buss, Kupchak, Jeannie Buss signed off on Luke Walton. Obviously, Kobe Bryant, he has the support of Kobe Bryant. And Rob Pelinka, Kobe's guy, is under Magic at the GM spot. So I think the support, the cushion that Luke Walton had available to him was there coming into the season from everyone but the person who mattered most, which was Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson's mentality was, I'm not going to be closed-minded about this. If the brother shows up and produces and shows me something, he'll keep the job. Why would I change? But if that is not the case, then obviously I will consider making a change. And clearly that change is coming once the season.
You know
is
the
over.
problem, and that's reasonable, because as Jalen said, when you don't hire the guy, unless your success outstrips expectations, usually the new regime gets rid of him. The problem is the roster that Magic and Pelinka assembled and handed to Luke Walton.
I agree.
That's definitely part of the problem. But another problem is people are just going to have to face facts. LeBron James is not good enough to lead a ragtag group of teammates into the playoffs in the Western Conference. He's not that good anymore. He's not good enough to do that anymore. Fully healthy, he's still one of the top players in the NBA. But everyone around him has to fit in seamlessly in order for them to be successful, or as successful as you would expect one of LeBron's teams to be in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, you definitely have to boost up the talent level, and everybody has to be simpatico to what LeBron James wants. And it takes a minute to learn and understand the LeBron James system, because that's the only system that he's willing to run.
I felt it it was so weird, and everyone said these are curious decisions they're making. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But they presented the plan. Look, we're going to surround him with playmakers because he's doing too much. He needs to age gracefully. So let's have other guys do stuff. But when LeBron James is the best outside shooter on the team, it's a problem. KCP is not a starting caliber guard. I mean, we can see that. He is a rotation piece. He's not a starting. It's been enough years in the league. We can tell that. Both ends of the floor. You look at who else is there to shoot the ball. Josh Hart, disappointing shooting season. He's an okay shooter. He's not a great one.
Here's the issue with all that, though, Max Kelman. LeBron James knew about all that shit before he got there, man. He knew about everybody who was supposed to be there before he got there. So I don't want to hear any complaints about the coach or the roster. LeBron knew what he was dealing with before he got there. So the only conclusion that someone can come to, if you're utilizing empirical data, rationale, precedent, research, just paying attention, is that LeBron James came to LA for a different reason other than basketball. It's very obvious.
Kyle Kuzma, a disappointing shooting season, and all he does is score. It's not like he plays defense or is a great passer or something like that. So when your roster consists of Rondo and Lonzo and Ingram and fives who can't stretch the floor, LeBron James, who's the playmaker, who's the guy with the ball in his hands most of the time.
Well, supposedly LeBron James said that he came to the Lakers and he was going to play off the ball. So now you're saying that LeBron is supposed to be the playmaker. I thought that according to LeBron, he wanted playmakers on his team so that he could rest off the basketball.
Is your best outside threat, for the exact reasons people thought it was a bad idea, it turned out to be a bad idea.
The toughest thing to do in today's NBA is draft players and turn them into successful individuals that become a collection of a team. The Golden State Warriors did it. It started with Mark Jackson. The Philadelphia Sixers initially did it with Embiid and Ben Simmons. What these Lakers have to do is understand Luke Walton actually did a really good job developing these players. Ingram's shown he can play, so is Ball, so is Kuzma. All of those guys have value. So does Hart. The problem is the collection of the pieces don't fit. And this is what...
Well, one of the main reasons for that is because Lonzo Ball is not allowed to develop because now you have LeBron James. That's why I said I would have been surprised if they would have made it through this season and Lonzo would have lasted. Because it's very obvious that Lonzo and LeBron cannot play well hand in hand because neither one of them are exemplary shooters. LeBron James is a good shooter at this point in his career. Lonzo Ball, he would hope to become an average shooter at some point in his career. But they were never going to mesh. And LeBron James is impeding many of their younger players from being able to grow. That's why over the course of this season, there was a point where all the stats of the younger players had dropped off from last year because LeBron had come and taken most of the spotlight, most of the clout in the offense. So you can't look at the young players now and say, well, what's going on with them? You already know what's going on with them. LeBron James did not fit in well with those young players, and he knew that before he got there.
This is what LeBron also has to pay attention to being in Los Angeles. As we've all lived there and Stephen A's there right now. He could be the first MVP level player on their team to not win a championship. That's not
Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor was the first, so he'd be the second.
Right.
Elgin retired the year they won, but he never got there.
How about this? In 50 years then?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's going to happen is the dynamics of the relationship with the public is going to change with the team. Because
I think that LeBron James is counting on the notion that the NBA is going to try to assist him the best way that they can to get that one championship. I told you guys this before the season. Now, the real issue is that we're living in the age of information and surveillance. So a lot of the chicanery and the trickery that that these front offices or the commissioners could get away with back in the day, they can't do that anymore because people are far more skeptical now than they were 30, 40 years ago. Like, you know, if the Knicks all of a sudden get the #1 draft pick, everybody's going to say, well, we knew the fix was in because they want the Knicks to get Zion Williamson, things of that nature. But if all of a sudden the Lakers go from being a 35-win team this year to being a 60-win team next year and on their way to the championship, the people are going to say, well, what's going on here? Something is rotten in Denmark. We know that the NBA wanted the Lakers to make the playoffs, and it's not going to happen. Why is that? Because Adam Silver knows. You know, we just can't declare the code red on all the Lakers opponents for the last 20-plus games because it's going to be too obvious. There are too many eyes on us right now. And LeBron, I mean, to be quite frank, is not good enough to carry the team. there's an extent to which outside forces can assist a superstar, but you have to be able to make up the rest of that breach. If you can't make up the rest of that breach, then they're out. And that's what I try to explain to many of these cats when they go on and on about this being rigged and that being rigged. No, these sports leagues are based on narratives, meaning storylines. And the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball, they would like to see certain storylines come to fulfillment or to fruition, but you also have to do your part and help them out.
Because guess all the purple and gold fans want to do is win the championship. That's all they care about. So they don't care about the two that was won in Miami. They don't care about the one that was won in Cleveland. That's why Luke is going to end up losing his job. And don't be surprised if he coaches the UCLA Bruins next.
That's interesting.
That's exactly what the word is out here, that he'll be coaching UCLA next season. That's number one. Number two, when we talk about...
Remember, his pops is a UCLA Bruin legend. I think that, if I remember correctly, I believe that Luke Walton went to Arizona.
Talk about Magic and we talk about LeBron. I've been saying this for a long time. You come to Los Angeles, you come to Tinseltown to wear that purple and gold. He will be the first marquee guy outside of Elgin Baylor. And by the way, the Lakers won the championship in '72, the year Elgin Baylor retired. He just
yes, Max Kellerman mentioned that already, sir. Pay attention.
Just retired, a few games into that very season that they had won the championship. Had he been on that team, had he stayed on that team and not retired, he actually would have had a ring that particular year. But look,
who knows? Maybe his retirement is the reason why they won, Stephen A. Smith. Might sound difficult to think that, but who knows?
LeBron